They said the lighthouse hadn't worked in decades, so why did I see it glowing from my window last night? It was in the autumn of 1968 when Ethan Cross returned to Glassmoor, a crumbling village clinging to the edge of the sea. Years had passed since he last walked its cobblestone lanes. His parents had died young, and he had been raised inland by an uncle who never spoke of the coast. Now, nearing 30 and weary from city life, Ethan came back to claim the one thing left to him, the family home, and the secrets it kept. The house stood stubbornly on a cliffside bluff, a Victorian skeleton, its bones groaned with age. But it wasn't the house that unsettled him. It was the Glassmoor Lighthouse, a tall, rusted thing half swallowed by the sea mist. Abandoned since the 1940s, its glass crown was shattered, and the stairs within were said to have collapsed. Yet, on the first night, as Ethan gazed out the bedroom window, the top of the lighthouse glowed faintly blue, like an eye slowly waking. Days passed, and the village folk offered little warmth. They spoke in wary tones and crossed themselves when Ethan asked about the lighthouse. At the dusty local library, he found an old journal tucked between sea maps. The name inside was Thomas Merrow, the final lighthouse keeper. Its pages detailed oddities: seabirds flying backward, visitors arriving on nights they weren't supposed to, and voices in the surf that whispered his name. The last entry was dated October 16, 1943. It read, "The light flickered on by itself tonight. The sea was flat, but the fog was thick. I could see a man standing just beyond the shore, not moving, watching. I rang the bell. He didn't flinch. Then silence." On his fifth night, Ethan ventured down to the base of the cliffs, following a path nearly erased by bramble. There, among tide pools and black rock, he heard it. "Help me!" A child's voice, soft but clear, drifting from the surf. He turned and saw a small boy standing waist-deep in the waves, staring up at him with hollow eyes. But there was no child, just the sea, flat and gray. Later, he learned that a child had drowned there in 1942, the son of Keeper Merrow. And worse, that Merrow had vanished a year later. No body, no goodbye. Driven by fear and fascination, Ethan broke the rusted chain and forced open the lighthouse door. Inside, the air was thick with rot and salt. The spiral staircase, though crumbling, held his weight. Each step creaked like a warning. He reached the top. The lantern room's glass was shattered, rust etched into every surface except the lens. It gleamed like new. As he approached, a pulse of cold swept through the chamber, and the lens began to turn on its own. Outside, the mist thickened, swallowing the horizon. "You shouldn't be here." A voice, old and broken, rasped behind him. He turned. Nothing. He fled. A local historian finally confessed to him over tea and trembling hands. During the war, Glassmoor became a signal point for Allied convoys. The lighthouse was manned day and night. But Merrow had grown strange. He spoke of dreams where the sea climbed the land, and a voice that promised eternal clarity if he let the light pass through. On his final night, the light spun wildly. Ships crashed, lives were lost. Merrow was blamed and locked inside the lighthouse by the villagers. But when they returned the next morning, it was empty. The final night came. Ethan couldn't sleep. The blue light flashed again. And now, the villagers saw it too. They gathered, silent, on the beach. He ascended the tower again, drawn like a moth to the flame. The lens turned fast, humming. Below, the sea peeled back, revealing black stones carved in spirals. Then, the whispers came, dozens of voices, layered and chanting in a language not his own. Ethan looked in the mirror of the lens and saw himself, but not himself. His reflection smiled back, eyes gone dark and full of stars. Let the light pass through. He placed his hand on the lens. A sudden eclipse swallowed the moon. The villagers ran, the sea screamed. From the lighthouse, a beam of blue light burst into the heavens, and then silence. The light went out. The tower crumbled, and Ethan Cross was never seen again. Decades later, the village is gone. Nothing but stone foundations remain. But some nights, sailors report a strange blue glow off the coast, near ruins they say don't exist on any map. And if you listen closely on windless nights, you can still hear the whisper, "Let the light pass through."